Um, I hate when they use me, but Charlotte said it right. You think it's the first time I've shared my name? I mean, but I want to clarify this, and you guys know this too. She is 10 times the athlete I am.
Soon we will talk about WWE Hall of Famer and 16-time world champion Ric Flair. He went on Busted Open Radio to speak about the whole angle between Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton, and he was not happy about it. Let's tune in more to Locker Room at Toss and Ring Scandal, aka KDH.
I'm tired of being humble. I'm tired of letting people think they got a chance. The tribal chief is head and shoulders above everybody.
Hey, guys. We're here at the Locker Room. It's Toss and Ring Scandal, aka KDH. Turnbuckle King here. Today we'll talk about why Ric Flair was furious with Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair angle. You guys get the license. We come to the locker room. We about to air some dirty laundry on this one. Now, ever since this feud started between Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair for the WWE Women's Championship, Charlotte Flair winning the Royal Rumble and challenging Tiffany for a title, this whole feud has been a disaster from the get-go. I mean, there's nothing about this feud that says, oh, this is my favorite match I want to see at WrestleMania. And a lot of people have been feeling the same way. And, people were already upset when Charlotte Flair won the 2025 Women's Royal Rumble. They didn't like that already. Then the fact that Tiffany, that she picked, I know that's a dream match a lot of people was looking forward to. But this is just not it. It's not it. I'd rather Charlotte Flair to compete for the women's world title. It would have been a better fit for her. Tiffany Stratton had just won the WWE Women's Championship back at January 3rd, the very first SmackDown of the year and the very first SmackDown that was 3 hours on USA Network. So I believe that Tiffany Stratton should have had more feuds and more time as champion under her belt before she go against a veteran in the likes of Charlotte Flair, the 14-time women's world champion. That's just how I see it. Now, a lot of people, of course, is talking about the whole recent segment that was on Friday Night SmackDown where they said both women went off script. Charlotte Flair was called a Nepo baby and she went Nepo queen. And then, the whole thing about Charlotte Flair being, at 25, she was a drunk in her daddy's basement. Tiffany Stratton is 25 years old, heading into WrestleMania as the women's champion. Then also, of course, the famous line that Charlotte Flair is 0-3 when it comes to marital status. She's been divorced 3 times. Her recent divorce to Andrade, which I talked about on this channel as well. And that's when Charlotte Flair said, hey, Kaiser, has been in my DMs. But other than that, though, we're going to listen to what Ric Flair had to say about this whole segment on Busted Open Radio. Let's see what the Nature Boy had to say here.
This question, do you have an opinion of what went down in the ring last Friday night on SmackDown with Charlotte and Tiffany Stratton?
Well, I have an opinion, but I don't really want to voice it. I can just say this. It's I don't know. It's very sensitive. I didn't like it, but wrestling's wrestling, and I hate when they use me. But Charlotte said it right. You think it's the first time I've shared my name? I mean, but I want to clarify this, and you guys know this too. She is 10 times the athlete I am. So much better a worker than I ever was. I mean, I know you guys, you're always going to think of me as being that. I can't do half the things that she does. And it's not like she's 5'2" and 103 pounds, you know what I mean? She's 5'11", and weighs 145 or 50 pounds, whatever it is. And she works so hard. The Undertaker said it best. The Queen came back and regained her crown. She deserved it. She'll be the best worker in the business, female, until the day she decides to retire.
Well, to me, she's the greatest of all time. So, go ahead, Bully.
Yeah,
and me too.
Say that again, Dave.
No, to me, she's the greatest of all time.
She is. I mean, I can say it. It means nothing coming from me, but coming
Well,
from you guys,
Charlotte Flair is the greatest female wrestler of all time, and I can make an argument that she belongs in the top 10 greatest wrestlers of all time, period.
that's how I feel. And you know what? She'll take this and hear this, and then she'll go to the gym and work out harder.
Let me ask you this, Nate. Back in your day, when it came to
Now, that was Ric Flair on Busted Open Radio talking about the whole segment between Charlotte Flair and Tiffany. I will say one thing here. It may seem off script, but I believe that Tiffany and Charlotte already knew that they was going to say some off-scripted stuff. This stuff was mentioned prior. Now, was it going to go as far as it did? It's a possibility it didn't, but I don't think it was an unscripted promo, because if it was, we know it's with WWE, they always black the screen on SmackDown or they bleep stuff out. So I don't think it was a whole unscripted promo like people think it is. Now, I will talk about another issue I have with this feud. Me personally, I liked it when Tiffany Stratton was a heel, just like she was on NXT. When she won the NXT Women's Championship, this was a better character fit for Tiffany Stratton. Way better than what she has now. Coming down to even her theme music, the character, everything was good. Now, I think she was NXT Women's Champion for maybe 3 to 4 months, but it was a way better fit for her. And when she came to the main roster with this babyface, or at least somewhat heel turn to a babyface character, when she cast in the Money Bank contract on Nia Jax, I'm not sold on that at all. And this is one of the reasons why this feud is not selling like it should be, because you got the wrong people in the wrong roles. Now, Charlotte Flair, she's been doing everything she can since she returned from injury to her divorce to get the fans on her side to become a babyface due to, everything on her personal life. So I think that's the thing. But we know the fans are not cheering for Charlotte. They've been booing ever since she came back because of her name and her whole career. She's just not a fan favorite. She's a heel. But she needs to be more of a babyface. So I see why Tiffany's the babyface, but she needs to be more of a heel. And what they could have done also with Tiffany and Charlotte, since they want to run this program, I would say that they both should have been at least make both a babyface. If not, Charlotte Flair be a full heel. She could have been a tweener. Tiffany could have been a tweener. And then at the end of WrestleMania 41, what could have happened was possibly Tiffany could turn, cheat her way into retaining the women's championship against Charlotte Flair, and then make her become this heel character. And then that's when you get the fans to feel bad for Charlotte Flair. Trying to get the fans on Charlotte Flair, to feel bad for Charlotte, that's not working right now. And that's why she's getting heavily booed, because it's a force. They're trying to force us to cheer for Charlotte. Despite her comeback from the injury, the worst injury of her career with the MCL, ACL, and all this and everything else, and then her divorce from Andrade, that's not really putting over as a babyface character for Charlotte Flair. She was better off being just a tweener somewhat. And Tiffany Stratton could have still been a tweener because she did cash in the Money to Bank contract. Now, I know Kaiser here, he said on a tweet, do not flatter yourself. Now, this is another part of the whole thing when Charlotte Flair said Kaiser in her DMs. He said that. That's how I know this is not really selling, because Kaiser never goes on social media. He said that before on a Chris Van Fleet interview. And I know, too, he said this as well. Me waking up to Europe last Saturday with no vacation, talking about Ludwig Kaiser, European elegance, everything. And he's talking about how he was not in Charlotte Flair's DMs. This feud's not selling. Nothing's working. And this whole off-script thing, I'm not buying to that. This is not an off-script thing. This is an on-script thing. Like I said, it may have tweaked a couple things to make it seem off script. This was totally an on script story, and it's not really selling at all. And I wish people would see that. Everyone's saying that's off script. No. Tiffany Stratton, I wouldn't be surprised if they even cheat her way, like I said, to retain the women's championship. And Charlotte Flair, if she does somehow win the women's championship at WrestleMania 41, of course she's going to get booed some more. But you know what? Tiffany Stratton could come off as a sore loser, lose it to Charlotte, and then that's how you could put Tiffany Stratton over as a heel because she couldn't accept her loss and defeat, and she somehow do some sneak attack behind Charlotte Flair after losing the championship match and losing her title. But they got to do something with the storyline. I'm not buying to it. But I do know that also with Charlotte Flair doing everything she can to become a babyface character, she did the Sherri Shepherd show in which she talked about her divorce. It's a desperate attempt to try to do everything to put this woman over as a babyface. But let's check out, see what Charlotte Flair had to say on the Sherri Shepherd show here.
And that's got to be hard because you got to get in the ring and you got to and do what you got to do, and you can't show that part. Like, how did you handle all of that?
I didn't. I felt like I was failing at my job. I felt like I was failing in my personal life, and the embarrassment of being divorced again and then being compared to my father.
Yeah.
So hold on, let me gather myself.
There you go. We got you.
When I made the decision to file for divorce, the only thing that I kept thinking was, like, I just didn't want anyone to know.
Right.
Like, oh my gosh, I have failed again. And then my knee, and then I think, as women, I think men too, but it's like everyone's probably thinking, well, she's gonna come back a year older, she's gonna come back less than, she's coming back off this knee injury. And unfortunately, the WWE audience hasn't gotten to see the comeback of Charlotte Flair. This wasn't a Charlotte Flair redemption story.
Yeah.
But for me, it's a redemption story for me because everything that I have feared or been scared of or embarrassed of publicly, because everyone has an opinion, even though they don't know the facts.
Absolutely.
I just didn't. I have to keep. I don't even know where I was.
You know what I mean?
The
thing, as a person who's been twice divorced, and everything hits you, and that fear hits you.
Shame.
It's the fear, the shame. But then when you rise up, Charlotte, did you feel like I met this and I conquered this? Like you've gone through the fire in so many ways, and you are still strong. You are still standing. You are still that beautiful woman.
I found my worth.
You found your worth.
I found my worth.
And going through all that, and it didn't break you.
It's okay not to be okay. That's what I learned. It's okay to take a moment, take a breather, to start over.
Yeah.
And I was able to keep the divorce a secret until I came back, won the Royal Rumble, and then I had I was on Monday Night Raw, like hearing from Charlotte Flair after her Rumble win, her epic return, and then boom, everything hits.
Yeah.
The media, and everything that I had been scared of hit that day, and I was like, the fight's over. I have nothing to fight. This is me, this is who I am, I'm standing in my worth, and people can have their opinions. And I think to the audience who watches wrestling, they don't know what Charlotte has been through to get to where she is, but I know. So for Ashley, this is.
So that was Charlotte Flair on the Sherri Shepherd show, talking about her divorce and how she, had a lot going on in her personal life, how the crowd was clapping for her, feeling bad for her, how she's going to get it together. And this was aired the same day right before the segment between Tiffany and Charlotte. So Charlotte used this as a beacon of opportunity to get the fans to feel bad for her and try to use everything she can to oversell the storyline. And again, it's still not working. Charlotte's using talk shows, and even Tiffany Stratton mentioned a talk show host guest that she was on Sherri Shepherd show. It's not working. Nothing's moving. This storyline's still not where it should be. And I believe it's one of the most underwhelming feuds and one of the most uninteresting matches that I expect to see at WrestleMania 41. Now, this is not a main event, as well. This could clearly be an opener to WrestleMania 41. It's probably better off being that way because either way, they need to end this feud right now because nothing's working. They tried the talk show host. They tried the whole so-called off-scripted promo. And now it's just nothing's clicking with the storyline. And it's been like that ever since the beginning. It's the whole execution of how it began. If they had did the so-called off-scripted promo in the very beginning of the feud, it probably would have worked out for the better. And this feud would have been very much more anticipating than rather being uninteresting because it's just not an interesting feud at all. And I think that's what it should come down to. But hopefully, for WrestleMania 41, they at least put on a solid match because these two women are talented. Despite contrary to popular belief, people think Charlotte's not a good performer, but she is, in my opinion. It's just the way her character and this whole story's been executed. But other than that, though, that's all I have regarding why Ric Flair was furious with Charlotte Flair, Tiffany Stratton angle. You guys let me know what you think, because Ric Flair speaks on this whole thing on Busted Open Radio. Was Ric Flair right about what he said? Did he have a point, or was he off base of what he said? Check out the content here at Toxic Ring Scandal, aka KDH. Until then, you already know what it is at this point. It's OUT.